Welcome to the Any Key Video Show, the place and platform for indie creatives. I'm your host, Kenny Any Key Moore. We're kicking off season 4 talking filmmaking in this episode. My guest has a web series out, but before we start the show, would you do one thing for me? Go subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach_ANYKENY and follow me on social media at Coach_ANYKENY on X, TikTok, and Instagram, so you can check out other episodes of the show and keep up with the rest of the stuff that I'm doing. All right, my guest is ready. I'm ready, so let's start the show. Before my guest joins me to talk about his new web series, let's check out a clip of it. Here's Wade Simmons' A Good Song Makes a Difference on Any Key Video Show.
Lighten up a little bit, sir. I'm just trying to cheer you up.
Wait, just don't start with me right now. Like, I'm really mad at you.
What did I do this time?
Whatever. So we still going out later?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll see you then.
See you later.
Baby, just treat me right. I don't want to fight. The pain is so unbearable.
There you go, singing that old sad song. But the concert was banging.
It was. It really was. But it's over now, so back to reality.
Why you gotta be so negative, sir? I'm just saying, like, loosen up a bit. Don't be singing the blues too much, like, sing something more happy.
You know what, Wade? Everybody can't be like you. Everybody can't think of sunshine and rainbows and look on the brighter side of things.
I mean, I get it, but, I mean, you ain't gotta walk around all sad all the time. Like, you hear this song? It's my song. I'm in my space. I know my place. In the future, I embrace. Even the legacy to leave a trace. That's why Wade keep a smile on his face.
What am I gonna do with you?
All right, now joining me is Wade Simmons. He's a filmmaker and content creator from the Chicago area. He also works in the funeral business and is a graduate in mortuary science. You just saw a clip of his new web series. Now let's bring him on and talk about it. Wade, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So, whenever I have guests on with me for the first time, I always start the interview out with this question because it's always interesting to hear what the answer is. So here's the question. Tell me your earliest memory or the moment you fell in love with filmmaking.
Oh man, I was probably like 6 or 7 years old because
Wow.
it actually started with photography. I
Okay.
was into like photography, taking pictures and making like family videos and stuff of that nature. So around like 6 or 7.
Wow. So when did you start making family videos at that age too?
Well, just like I would do like writing, creative writing and stuff like that. I used to make me and my father actually used to make like cartoon characters. So I did a lot of more writing. I as far as like, creativity wise, but as far as like my journey with film and photography, just taking like, pictures on family vacations and events and filming events and things of that nature.
Gotcha. And that's how you got your feet wet, and then that's how you fell in love with it.
Yep.
Got it. All right, so in your bio, you mentioned Spike Lee and George Lucas as your filmmaking influences. So talk about how their filmmaking styles influenced you.
Well, so I'll start with Spike Lee first. So like when I was younger, I remember my grandmother was on. We was on the west side of Chicago. She was getting her hair done, and we were watching the Crooklins. When I
Yes, sir.
saw the
Brooklyn.
movie,
Yes, sir.
when I saw that movie, The Crooklins, I fell in love with it. And like when I really like think about Spike Lee, like a lot of his work, like I like how it was like really relatable. I liked, how Spike Lee, like, being a black American filmmaker that, like, he kind of spoke to the culture.
For sure.
Um I know, like, even within the culture, we still have our differences, but I think he did a really good job, for that day and time with his work. And like I said, The Crooklins is one of my favorite movies. It's like, it was just really relatable, man. Like when you think about, like, the dynamic with the brothers and the sister and the mom and the dad, and the mom ended up passing away and the sister being, sent to live with relatives, and just it was just like, a really, like, really relatable movie.
100%. Listen, I'm from New York. I'm originally from the Bronx, and so a lot of that stuff that he did, hot peas and butter, Skellsies, playing on the street. I remember doing all of that stuff growing up, so I can totally understand why it would be one of your favorite movies, because it's one of my favorite movies too, because it reminds me of my childhood.
Yeah, man. Man, every like I can watch that movie like probably twice in one
Same,
day because it was
same.
just really relatable, man. And it's just like I said, he did a really good job from the actors to the storyline. And I also like the way, like, how he represented New York. Like I know, like, Spike Lee has a very interesting background, and I love how, him kind of growing up in New York, because I believe he was born in Atlanta, but he kind of moved to New York, I guess, when he was younger, and he just, kind of adapted the culture. And I just liked how he, like, did his work.
Yeah, yeah. Now he's one of the greats, so that's definitely a person to you would want to have your style influenced by him, because he's one of the greats. So I totally get it. All right, so you gave me one. Now I need you to give me your top five favorite Spike Lee films.
Um, I would say, well, I gotta throw the Crooklins in there. Do the right thing.
Mhm.
What is it? I liked, what was that? The Mo Better Blues.
Yes, sir.
I actually liked his, and this might sound strange to some people, but I actually liked one of his earlier student films he did, like the Black History one. It was really short. They were picking cotton.
Okay.
It was
I
really
don't think I
short.
saw that one. Gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you why, the reason why I like that one, because me as a filmmaker, right? Like, as an artist, I love to look at people's journey. I don't really look at the destination. I look at the journey, because
Mhm.
I feel like God made all of us creative. Like, everybody has an artist in them.
100%.
I mean, some people are mainstream, some people are not. Really doesn't make a difference. I mean, an artist is an artist, but I like to, like, look at people's journey, man. And so, like I said, like, that's one of the ones I actually like, because that gave me like a earlier, like, depiction of who he was. Also, I like the one he did with the barbershop film he made. That was another one of his earlier films that a lot of people didn't know about. But I
Okay.
like I'm putting it like this: out of his films that I like, I gotta start with his early work, going into the other films that I mentioned. You know, I'm all about the beginning of the journey, man.
I feel that. I feel that. So for me, I'm with you. Mo Better Blues is one of my favorites. Malcolm X is another
Yeah,
one of my favorites. Crooklyn, like you, that's one of my
and she's
favorites.
gotta have it. I thought
Okay,
that was
yeah, that's
super
the
something
first.
as well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Um, I think what else? Oh, I'm gonna give you another one. Clockers. That was one of my favorites, because I was born in the Bronx, but I moved to New Jersey when I was 11. So that film was based in Newark, and I lived in the next town over, which is Hillside. Shout out to Hillside.
okay.
So that whole stolen car culture, we knew all about that. So Like, they call Newark the stolen car theft capital of the world. So him, like you said, he with his storytelling, he tells the good and the bad side in terms
Mhm.
of the black experience. So I really respect him for that. So that's where we go. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of this break, we're going to get into the web series. So everybody stick and stay tuned. We'll be back in about a minute. Stay tuned. All right, make sure you follow Nelly's Joyful Treats on Instagram and Facebook to place your order so you can get that sweet taste of soul. All right, we are back with Wade Simmons, and he has a new web series out. We just shared a clip of it. So, Wade, let's get into it. Tell me the inspiration behind it and then how it came together creatively.
Well, actually, that web series is 9 years old. That
Wow.
that episode was kind of like a few years old, but I actually just started working on it because when I was in film school, I remember like kind of trying to find like what place that I want to have in the film industry, like what did I want to do.
Hmm.
I remember one of my teachers explaining to me like, you're a young black man from Chicago, you work in the funeral business, you have a really interesting story, like you might want to consider like making your own story. And so while I was in film school, I actually did my first pilot episode to my web series, which was called Repeat. It was loosely based off me happened to have started over in mortuary college.
Okay.
And so that's what like my main characters, Wade, loosely based off myself, and Zori kind of made like their debut. But it kind of just like I just took it and ran with it. Like we ended up just doing it and having fun with it. And so we just kept it going. I think like right now I'm more so moving toward like making documentaries.
Okay.
But yeah, but we still do some episodes here and there.
Gotcha. No,
But
listen. No, I
oh,
was
you
gonna
go ahead.
say it's a really interesting concept because I do music, so a good song really can make a difference. Like there's
Yeah.
energy in music, there's power in music. Music makes you feel a certain type of emotion. So when I saw that, I was like, "Yo, this is a super dope concept." So I need to get this guy on and talk about it.
Yeah, that episode actually just kind of came from like me. Like I've always like, God has always blessed me to kind of be like more of a uplifting type of person. I really love joy. That's not saying that we are happy every day, but I'm always, thankful and grateful. And I
Hmm.
feel like, joy is a beautiful thing. And so sometimes I've been around people that's a little more kind of like not always as joyous, and so
Hmm.
like I was really inspired to make that because I wanted to like, show like different sides of people. Like I wanted to, let people know that sometimes, as to your point, with music, right? Sometimes when people are depressed, sometimes they turn on the blues. You know what I'm saying? Like they turn on.
Absolutely.
But sometimes if you like, maybe play something a little more inspirational, it actually can lift you up. And so that was kind of more so the point of that is like how a good song really can make a difference because it's like if you feed yourself depressing things, you're depressed. If you feed yourself more uplifting and spiritually, and you can get that joy. So it was kind of more so with the premise, you hit it right on the nail.
Yeah, because like you said, a lot of times our mood determines the type of music that we listen to. So that's the premise of the series. It's right online. So I'm curious. Um, I haven't watched the rest of it, but I plan to. Did you get into what other topics did you get into, and how it relates to a good song? Were there other emotions that you
Well,
dug
so
into?
so actually, I call that series "Love Always Wins,"
Okay,
and actually, that series is more kind of like it's more like it became more like visual poetry. And so,
okay,
like a lot of episodes, kind of have a theme that's centered around like love, things of that nature. Because like I feel like God is love, and so I always try to like make my thing centered around love. Because when I look at the world and the way things are, sometimes I feel like not all people, but sometimes when you see the things we see in the world, like it stems from people having a lack of love. And so I said that as an artist, if I'm going to put things out into the world, and my work may not be perfect, but if I'm going to put anything out to the world, I want to put things out that's good. I want to put things out that puts good things in people, and just encourage people to have love. Because I feel like in society that we live in, it's kind of like, love is one of those things where, people do talk about it, but, the way we treat one another sometimes is not always
that's
great.
real.
And so I try to just put out good things, man. And then too, I'm a funeral service worker, so I always like to promote life rather than death. You know, I want to encourage people to like love one another, and I understand we may have differences. We might have family members or friends sometimes that may get on the nerve, but you still gotta love them. And like I said, when you look at the way the world is, like a lot of things, a lot of issues that people have, it stems from a lack of love.
No,
That's
that's a fact.
that's really like the
No,
whole
that's a
bottom
fact.
line. Like we try to analyze this stuff, but it's really a lack of love. Because if I love my neighbor or my friend or my brother and my sister, and when I say my neighbor or friend, I'm just speaking about everybody in the world. Like when you're on the highway driving or whatever, and somebody may be driving too slow, like I don't have to get mad and honk my horn, like and because you know what I'm saying, like, and then
Yeah,
people
yeah,
pick the fight, and then again, I'm a funeral service worker. So I've seen, a lot of senseless death due to a
yeah,
lack of love,
yeah,
And sometimes, in the world we live in, they're not going to say it that way. But the truth be told, a lot of things that go on in this world is just, it's a lack of love.
yeah, for sure. Um, and unfortunately, the political climate that we're in right now, it really almost pushes or promotes a lack of love because there's so much division and so much separation that love is really is as the song I think of Stevie Wonder, "Love's in need of love today."
Yeah,
That's really what this world needs.
you're right.
So shout out your collaborators that helped with the production of the series.
Well, I always got to shout out Benjamin Hart. He been working with me for about 9 years. Shout out to Efi. He been working with me for 9 years. Deja Booker, she was with me from day one. She been playing Zuri for almost 9 years. So shout out to Deja.
Wow.
Catalina, that's like my little sister. She's also an actress in Natara and Angelica. You know, Jaylene, Jalen, my boy Eugene. It's a lot of people. Edward, I can't leave Edward out. It's a lot of us, man. Akira, she does the music for me.
Okay.
And then Chris Hospelhorn, he did a lot of cinematography for me, like kind of like the first 3 years. And then Elijah Love, can't leave my boy Elijah out because he's had my back for a very long time. So I'm appreciative and grateful to all of the talent that I've worked with over the years. And I'm gonna share this. Back in 2023, we actually were working on a documentary about how we started the web series,
Okay.
and we screened it at the Music Box Theater in Chicago, and it was
Dope.
really nice. It was a nice turnout. Oh, I got to shout out Eris too. Eris Arby Bousse, who lives out in Baltimore, Maryland, I believe. She works with us from a distance, and she is doing a lot of phenomenal things. So shout out to her as well. So I'm grateful to all of the talent that people who I've worked with. I've always said that everybody is somebody, and I think like just it's one thing to like, take things for granted. And so I never want to take anything for granted because nobody has to do anything for me. So when you find people that do, because I've been turned down by different actors and
I'm sure.
actresses and stuff like that in other film. It happens. I mean it, but to me, I've
Other
always
than,
kind of extended my services to any and everybody who wants to work because to me, everybody is somebody. I don't look at myself more greater than the next person. Like I think that everybody truly is somebody.
yeah, I think that's one of the problems that we have um, in the entertainment business is that sometimes we overlook or we have to have a certain resume or we have to have certain amount of credits or be associated with a certain platform in order for you to consider working with each other. When at the end of the day, we're all creatives. We all
Oh
got the
yeah,
same gift, and it all came from up above. It came from God.
yeah,
So there's no big eyes or little U's. We're all just out here trying to create things and make things for people to consume.
absolutely. Look again, everybody is somebody. That is one of the principles that I live by because again, like you said, I look at God as the first artist, and all of us have
He was the
creativity
first
in
creator,
us.
100%.
We got all of us have creativity in us. So like to me, like I said, some people do it on a mainstream level, but regardless of it, as long as you share your gifts and talents and use them for all the right reasons, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So actually one more question, and then we'll wrap up, and so I'll get you out of here. Uh, with film school, you talked about film school. Talk about that journey. Um, what's talk about your film school, where you went, and then what prompted you to enroll in film school?
Okay, so that's a great question. So actually, funny story. I went to mortuary school first and graduated, but before we can sit for the national board exam, we had to take what I call the exit career exam, which is like a exam before the exam. And
Okay.
so it was taking me a while to pass it. And so I'm like, you know what? Man, if I don't pass this test, I done went through this whole program. If I don't pass this test, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll consider, being a veterinarian or something, or maybe taking up plumbing or whatever, because my family's in that business. And so I flew out to Vegas to work with my uncle in the plumbing business, and I had a good time. And while
I bet you
we was
were
working
out
on
there.
plumbing and stuff. They were fixing pipes and stuff, and I'm just talking to the customers, laughing and talking. And they getting bossed around, and I'm talking to the customers. So I'm like, my gift is more so dealing with people. So
Hmm.
I'm like, you know what? While I'm down, I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and go to film school. And I remember just praying and talking to God about. I'm like, I'm gonna go to film school. And right when I went to film school, I passed the funeral director part of the test,
Wow.
which is crazy how it happened because for 7 months I wasn't passing. And then right when I remember the owner of the funeral home that I worked for at the time, like, why would you go to school again? And you ain't even took care of this. But right when I, just trusted God and went to film school, I passed my funeral director test. And then I ended up, going to film school and sticking it out. And I'm grateful that I went because when I went, I started forming a lot of connections with other filmmakers, with the other students. And at the time, I didn't have my own equipment. So when I was in school, I had access to equipment. So by the time I graduated film school, I had already probably made like probably over 25, 30 films. And not saying they all were great, but you know what I'm saying? But I
But it's
took
part of the
total
journey.
took total advantage of being there. And I mean, I don't regret it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't necessarily think a person has to go to film school. I mean, both of my top two favorite filmmakers did go to film school, Spike Lee and George Lucas. But, you know, I mean, a person doesn't necessarily have to go to film school to be successful. But in my journey, I'm glad I went because if I didn't go, I wouldn't even, be working with the people that I know or have made the connections that I've made. So I don't regret it, but it was a very nice experience. And like I said, I met a lot of people and I got a chance to take like some screenwriting courses and editing courses and things of that nature. We know the industry is changing drastically because of, AI and all this stuff, but
Yeah.
at the same time though, it's like, I guess I think everybody has a right to be concerned about that. But at the same time, if it wasn't for some of this technology, a lot of people wouldn't have been able to get their work out. So I hope by the grace of God, humanity just finds a balance.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can't totally dish technology and
yes,
AI and all
yeah,
that stuff because it has allowed us to be able to connect and to do good things. But we hope it's going in the right direction. We can only hope.
yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned AI, like the song, the intro that played to start the show. That jingle is AI. So shout out to Suno, because I'm a songwriter and a musician, but I can't sing.
I got you.
Can't sing to save my life.
I used to
So
sing. I honestly, before my voice got messed up, I had developed I don't know if I told you, but I had a rare vocal disorder called spasmodic dysphonia, and I was dealing with that while I was in film school. So my voice started changing, and I sounded like two different people talking. Like if you're a Star Wars fan, you know how like it
yes,
was
sir.
Palpatine was Darth Sidious. You would have
Yeah.
thought you would have thought I had like one of them Darth Sidious moments going on or something
Wow.
because my voice would change. But once I was able to kind of pinpoint what the problem was, God blessed me to, you know, kind of put that problem away and he healed my voice.
Well, thank God for that. But yeah, the reason I brought that up is because, you know, being a songwriter and a musician, composer, but not a singer, I was able to use Suno to create vocals for, for the show. And sometimes dealing with creatives, sometimes dealing with singers, it can be a challenge. I'm sure you have that same, issue. You kind of alluded to a little bit dealing with actors because creative
Oh
people,
yeah.
I said they're special
Oh yeah.
because sometimes they're easy to work with, and then other times
Look,
not so much.
yeah, you're
So
right. That's
now
why.
go ahead.
Yeah, and you're right, and that's the thing to your point about like AI. Yes, it does do some good,
Yeah,
and if you use it in the right way, it can be a very useful tool because because to be honest with you as an artist I do understand some people want to do a little bit more themselves because here's the thing because sometimes it can be difficult relying on people sometimes because
100%.
sometimes you don't always because look I've had films that I've did where actors didn't show up and somebody bailed on you or didn't I had to get some young lady off the street to play a part one time because somebody bailed on me. But
Yeah,
it happens. But I would tell anybody like just long as you're using it for the right reasons. And I do believe that we should have boundaries with it. I'm
100%.
an advocate for that. Like I'm. Because again, AI can do a lot of things, good, bad, ugly, all of it. But
Hmm.
hopefully we use it for good.
Yeah, it's all in, with anything, it's all in moderation. Um, you use the tool, but you don't abuse the tool. I think
Yeah,
that's you know what I'm saying. Makes it may make your workflow, it may smooth out your workflow, it may make some things easier for you, but you just can't allow it to be a crutch where
yeah,
it's all creativity based on AI. Then that's when I think we run into problems. All right.
yeah.
So let's wrap up and tell my audience what's next for you. You talked about the documentaries. Tell my audience what's next for you in terms of documentaries and whatever films that you have in the works, and then tell my audience how to connect with you and follow you on social media.
Sure. So right now we're currently working on a pro wrestling documentary. I've been working on that for about almost 5 years. I did train for professional wrestling also for like 2 years. So the reason why I got into that was because I wanted to make a documentary. So we're
Gotcha.
finally trying to finish that up. It's taking a little more time than I would like to, but we want it to be as good as it can be. But right now we're in the process of finishing that up. And then, like I said, I'm just in the process of doing some other things. Oh, thanks, brother Jason. Appreciate it. Yeah. Just trying to take one day at a time, man. But I definitely want to continue to making more documentaries, even if it's just about different people, because I tell everybody this from being in the funeral business, you're telling people's story when they're gone. So
That's a
with
fact.
documentaries, I want to tell people stories while they're here. Give people their flowers while they can smell them. You know,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm about. You know.
Yeah. Shout out to my brother Jason Hendrickson. He's been a frequent guest on the show. Big supporter, and I'm a big supporter of his. He's one of the most hardworking creatives that there is out there. Um, besides the fact that he's a Celtics fan, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not gonna be messy tonight. So it's funny you say the documentaries because my home church, shout out to my home church, Pure Gospel Miracle Revival Center. Um, my parents are in the process of retiring as pastors. So the church is, oh man, it's in the 60s, I want to say, in terms of years old, 60s, 60 years old, over 60 years old. And I wanted to do a documentary about the history of the church because the church was founded by a female pastor. Um, so we'll talk offline because I want to definitely get with you to see how we can connect to see if we can make that happen.
Oh yeah. Look, it's always important to be able to help people tell the story because again, everybody is somebody. All of us have been through things that can be relatable to other people, and that's why, like I say, like every person under the sun has had a life experience, and and been through things that can really reach somebody. So everybody is somebody. Everybody got a story. So yeah, my brother, I got you.
My man. So the wrestling documentary, when do you have a release date or when you be putting that out?
I had a release date in mind, but it looked like it's still taking us a little more time. So I'm just gonna put it out whenever I finish it.
There you
I'm
go.
one of them filmmakers where like I don't really like give dates. I just look, I put it out there for whoever wanted. Like I ain't, I just look. I ain't trying to draw too much attention. Just
I
it's
feel you.
it's for those who want to see it.
Yeah, and creativity don't have no timestamp. If you're making timeless content, it has no timestamp. So
Absolutely.
you put it out when it's ready to come out, and you already
Yep.
know when it comes out, you got to come back and share a clip of it, and we talk about that too.
Oh yeah, man. Anytime you want me on, I got you, my brother.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, man. Thanks for being on the NQ Video Show.
Anytime.
Yes, sir. All right, that was Wade Simmons, and that's going to be it for this episode of the NQ Video Show. I want to thank Wade for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, or like your brands and services to be advertised and promoted on the show, or if you want your video to be featured on the show, send an email to KEbnMusicPub@gmail.com. Again, that's KEbnMusicPub@gmail.com. You can become a patron on my Patreon page. Just go to patreon.com/ANYKENY to get exclusive access to new content and free show merchandise. Or you can order your merchandise at the online store, which is kanmcollective.threadless.com. Again, that's kanmcollective.threadless.com. Shout out to all my patrons and people who have ordered merchandise. I really appreciate your support. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Coach_ANYKENY and follow me on social media at Coach_ANYKENY on X, TikTok, and Instagram, on my Instagram music page at KANM Collective, and my Facebook music page, Any Key Music, which is spelled capital ANY, capital KE, lowercase b, lowercase n, and capital Y. So until next time, be positive on purpose.